Hey, Frog Prince Rana here, and thank you for dropping by. As you might have guessed from the title, this video is my opinions only. Let me repeat it. This video is opinion of a random dude on the internet. There is no logic, science, or proof. So I might be completely off the mark. I would like to know your take on this topic though. This is a video from Looper titled Terminator Dark Fate star admits what we suspected all along. Now, I had certain expectation, but I was wrong. Well, let's see what they have to say.
The Terminator franchise exists on a unique plane of existence, too formulaic to live, but possessing too much brand recognition to die. The series has spawned 4 film entries and a TV show since the turn of the century, each of which has generally been met with a collective resigned sigh and a widespread sense that it was life imitating art. Just like the characters in the movies, film fans knew that there was a grim future ahead of them, but there seemed to be no way to avoid it. But then 2019's Terminator Dark Fate suddenly offered a ray of hope, an alternate timeline we could all live in where suddenly the movies were good and popular again. With James Cameron helping to pen the story, Deadpool's Tim Miller in the director's chair, and Linda Hamilton returning to the role of Sarah Connor for the first time since 1991, Terminator Dark Fate had all the makings of a brand new day for killer cyborgs.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yes, much to everybody's disappointment, the movie was a bit of a box office dud. But the film wasn't actually bad. Rotten Tomatoes ranked it as the most critically acclaimed big-screen entry in the series since Judgment Day. So, why didn't it succeed? According to Dark Fate star Mackenzie Davis, the answer is simple. People are just sick of the franchise. Appearing as a guest on the Happy Sad Confused podcast, Davis said, "As far as the box office and stuff, it's Terminator 6. Nobody saw the last 3. I get it, it's okay. I don't think that means what we made was bad, but I understand that the audience's appetite has been exhausted." It makes sense. Even Star Wars has shown signs of fan fatigue in recent years. Dark Fate features a main cast made up entirely of female performers, a point which internet trolls clung to with a skeletal metal grip. Davis doesn't subscribe to that thesis, however.
Now, before I'm marked as an internet troll, back in early 95, there was a new game that looked and played like nothing I have played before. I could see some similarities to another character I came to love, but with enough nuances for this character to be its own. So me and bunch of friends played the hell out of that game. Soon enough, there was a patch released that made the game prettier with higher resolution, if you happen to have a powered VR card. Well, then I played the game once again. Then the series kind of got stale with the same old stuff, and I lost interest. Then a reboot happened. I think it was around 2013, and that was freaking amazing. Yes, I'm talking about Tomb Raider. So when it comes to that franchise, am I a good guy and at the right side of history when I like it, and then change to a troll and sexist when I don't? If that is the case, then I don't have anything else to add. On the flip side, we have games like Battlefield 5. After the backlash, the response from the company was, "All this bad feedback must be because we have strong women in trailer, damn sexist," and ignoring the fact that most gamer hated it due to its strange depiction of World War II with real history rewritten to follow an agenda. One of the lead designer, or was it project manager, who basically said it was his young daughter who complained about not being able to play as a girl in an 18+ rating game. Their bad management didn't help the cause either. How about in literature? This might be lowbrow for some, but one of my most favorite authors is Terry Pratchett. I love all the characters that resides on a flat earth, resting on top of 4 elephants and travel through space on the back of Great Atune. But the one I love the most is Granny with a Rocks. the most powerful witch in Discworld. Then in Dilbert environment, we have Alice. I always perceived her to be the smartest in that universe. There is a joke where pointy-haired boss calls her Hun. She gets really upset, calling him a sexist pig. Then she is told it's a shorter version for Attila the Hun. Good stuff. TV shows? I never liked Pierce Brosnan while growing up, because of a silly reason. In the show Remington Steele, I hated his character taking all the credits from Laura Holt. Yes, I was a young stupid boy. Finally, movies. Frida was awesome. Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li was utter garbage. Ghost in the Shell? Well, I didn't see the movie, but loved the anime. I was never too much into Alien Universe, but did enjoy the first two. Ripley was kick-ass. I watch Teen Titan with my little one, and Raven is the best character. Wonder Woman was great, I mean the first half. Loved Mulan. Oh no, not the cinematic one, but the old animation. When it comes to Terminator, now I'm not a movie critic, but to me, it was Sarah Connor who was the main character on the first two movies, and it was glorious. I heard good things regarding Sarah Connor's Chronicle from friends whose opinion I do value, but never got around to watch it. The one in question, well, didn't like it at all. Even if I had pirated the movie, I would have wanted my money back. So, what happened? Now, different people may dislike it for different reasons. And I do agree that there are people who disliked it because of all-female cast. Thankfully, that was not the argument presented in Looper's video. My personal feeling towards that? Well, it is simply sexist and bad. It's a double-edged sword, and one who lives by the sword dies by the sword. My reasoning for not liking it? Well, two main reasons. First is the fact that the powers that we decided to throw away all the storytelling that had come before it. Over 5 films, John was essentially the savior of human race, and then to have been blown away at the beginning. It is not a good reason, but liking something doesn't always follow reason. In a game Last of Us, the character you played and got to love was brutally beaten to death, and that had bunch of gamers all riled up. Quick plug. I do have couple of videos talking about morality in that game. Anyway, the way they connected it with the story, I was okay with it. To me, it made sense. Not so much over here. It just felt like pandering to a particular group. This is the wokeness we talk about. The other being, yes, I'm all for suspension of belief. I can get along with Superman flying or Spider-Man swinging from building to building. Not spoiling the movie, though I already did a bit. Let's just say Arnold's character broke my suspension. In narratology and comparative mythology, we have something called MonoMyth or the hero's journey. It is the common template of stories that involve a hero who goes on an adventure, is victorious in a decisive crisis, and comes home changed or transformed. A popular form of this structure derived is from John Campbell's MonoMyth from his book The Hero with 1,000 Faces, and was adapted by Christopher Vogler, is the 12-stage hero's journey. This is essentially a more detailed character arc for your story's hero, which is overlaid onto the more traditional 3-act structure. It is a good book and a must-read for any storyteller. In this journey, a good story would make us feel for the hero. There would be peril that he or she has to overcome and learn something from it. We may not immediately see it, but when analyzed, we would see it from Star Wars to the Wizard of Oz. This brings us to the Superman problem. If an entity is perfect, there is nothing that he or she would learn. There is no peril. I can only recall one Superman comic book which had a problem even this god could not solve. That was when Superman wanted to end world hunger. Even Ip Man movies, not spoiling it for anyone, but Don Yen did an amazing job in all four. There are a couple of other Ip Man movies which are also quite good, but not such mainstream. So even Ip Man comes across a problem that he cannot punch his way out. That is a good story, which makes the hero human and relatable. So a character like Captain Marvel or the new Mulan comes across as the ultimate Mary Sue. And I use the definition of Mary Sue is a type of fictional character who's portrayed as unrealistically free of weaknesses. There is never any peril, so why should I care? They don't have to overcome anything. The cartoon Mulan actually had to, but not the new one. Many years ago, I was doing some research on pirates, and I do mean the ones from the Golden Age. Got some videos, and those were meant to be on Edward Teach. One of those was not a documentary, but a movie. Remembering Cutthroat Island, I was dreading to watch it. Finally, I put the disc, and the first scene blew me away. I was completely hooked. It was a small boat that was slowly sinking, with a man standing on top of the mast. Then he casually steps off to the dock, and the ship sinks. That was pure gold. To me, that movie was great thanks to that character, Captain Jack Sparrow. So if and when the next Pirates of the Caribbean comes out, I know I will hate it if Jack Sparrow is not in it. To me, it would just be an attempt of cash grab, hoping to use the existing viewer base. Don't even get me started on the abomination that was Ghostbuster. Same goes with James Bond. Only a simpleton would blame it on franchise fatigue. I think Marvel proved it more than any other movies I remember in recent times. I personally am not tired of John Wick. It delivers what it promised, and the fight scene surrounding my mirror, you know, the one paying homage to Bruce Lee, was freaking brilliant. I personally think fans are simply sick of misplaced ego boost and political agenda pushed down their throat. Good, diverse entertainment is possible. The problem with modern movies are they seem to be written around certain socio-political ideas. It is nothing new. For generations, we had movies with different socio-political themes, but that didn't get into the way of good writing. While nowadays, seems like the writers start with the socio-political themes and then shoehorns the story. When it comes to science fiction, action, or comic book movies, doing that is mostly pointless. The culture is unlikely to change with the cutting-edge social commentary. When someone puts in Avengers Endgame and not Schindler's List, well, they want to be entertained. If the movie wants to slip in some wokeness, by all means go for it, with the objective of trying to make a work that entertains. Apparently, Sigourney Weaver's character in Aliens was written as a male character, but it ended with a good story and nobody cared about the female lead. Sarah Connor was a total badass in the 1993 Terminator movie. But nowadays, it is just beat the girl power theme into the audience instead of telling an engaging story. A lead, both male and female, should be a good character, not a prop for representation. A bad movie stays bad regardless of the cast's gender or fatigue. If the movie starts with a virtue signaling checklist, it will likely not end well. This is just one guy's take. Hopefully I didn't offend anyone. But if somebody is offended, well, that is a his or her problem rather than a me problem. That's all. If you've enjoyed it, maybe drop a like, comment and such. Most of my videos are debunking junk science. If you're into those kind of things, please do consider subscribing. It would definitely help me bring more contents to you. Thank you for watching. Wherever you are, have a safe day. Signing off.
We are one people.